born in the Bronx, Boogie Down Bronx. And, uh, I come from a place where, statistically, you may not make it. I
Right.
come from a
Yeah.
place where, there were hard times, there were good times, and everything that I went through with others that I grew up with was for a reason. I thank God that I made it through and that I made it to this point. And so, all the while, what carried me through was having great parents, great family,
Right.
great structure,
Right. Important.
great friends. Huh?
It's important to have that support, man. For
Oh,
real.
listen, it is paramount.
Yeah.
Okay, from friends, from family to friends, those you associate with. I mean, who you align with, who you surround yourself with is important.
Right.
And
Right.
even coming up as a youngster and being around different elements, I still had these, what we would say today OGs, that would impart some wisdom, and
Hmm.
they'll go ahead and give you a different aspect to how to view things and how
Right.
to take things in life. And that's what I took with me, along with what my parents gave me. And
Oh,
I got into the world of entertainment, especially specifically with acting, from a young age. I didn't really know that I would go in that direction fully. I just knew that I appreciated the art. My mom was into theater and musicals, and she would take me to see shows off Broadway and on Broadway. And then
right.
my father was into movies, like classic movies, and he would have he'd be a wealth of information. Like he would know, who won this award, best director, who won best actor, and I'm talking about
Right.
everybody from Sidney Poitier to Greta Garbo, and when and he loved that. So those two worlds, for me, I was always around that, and
Right.
it just went to a point where I couldn't escape it. It was in me. I loved it, and I started pursuing it, moving forward in life.
Oh, wow. So it was pretty much the support that you got. Your family is what kind of catapulted you into being an actor.
Yeah, well, indirectly,
Right. Right.
indirectly, because although my mother was like, "Baby, you do what you do," and so she was my number one supporter. My father wasn't, truly wasn't as supportive initially, and I think that was more so just wanting to make sure that you had stability, in your life.
Right.
Something, this business is not stable. It's about taking a chance. It's about sacrifice, and
Absolutely.
yeah, and my folks coming from the Caribbean, my mom's from St. Kitts, my pop's from Guyana. So, they, as immigrants, they come here and they just work. All they know is, hey, listen, work hard, get your education, move forward, and stick with that. Not too many people jumping outside of the line that say, hey, let me do this and take a little chance in it.
Right.
Although he loved it, and eventually before he passed, he got to see a little bit of what I could do in terms of music, not even well, I was saying acting too, because he followed me in theater, but it wasn't his desire
Right.
initially. He was more like school and get a job and you'll be all right.
Gotcha. Now, you was in New York, right?
Yeah.
How did how did you work your way down to Georgia?
When I honestly, when I came to Georgia, it wasn't for acting. It had actually, I was still doing music. I was behind the scenes. Well, I was working on material for myself, but I was also producing and writing behind the scenes. And part of what brought me down was, well, there were some opportunities to work with some artists that were based here in Atlanta. And my production team that I worked with, a team called Architect Beats, who those are my day ones I've worked with over the last umpteen years. Um, the opportunities were growing here at the time. But what really got me here to Atlanta was starting over after my mother passed away. I just wanted to start fresh, and I was choosing in between Atlanta at the time was Atlanta, and I think it was or going to Dallas. Um, I was trying to find where I wanted to go because I just wanted to just start fresh, and this is where I ended up. This is where God led me.
Oh, wow. Because Atlanta is just blowing up right now with film and everything. Everybody now is trying to move to Atlanta to get work. So
Right, right. Now they are.
the right decision.
It was, I promise you. And it's funny because Wardell, like I would over the years I would go back and forth. I'm not just in one place. So I've been in LA and then I go back to New York, but I spent a little bit of time going back and forth between Atlanta and LA. Again, also, you know, in the world of finding where I needed to be, you know, as an
Right.
actor, where I wanted to be business wise. But yes, however, Atlanta being how it is and what was happening was like you couldn't deny the growth that was happening here.
Right. Yeah, and growing up in New York, I know that was kind of rough right there. So, how was it for you culturally, like the change from there to here? That's kind of a pretty big difference.
Yeah, yeah. I tell you what I loved about the difference in culture moving here is that I love seeing all of us.
Right.
I love seeing our people. I love seeing my Black people. Like, you know, of course, we were there in, you know, in New York, heavy
Right.
from, you know, Caribbean culture, African culture, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying, like Latino culture. So New York is the melting pot. So I grew up with a little bit outside of the, you know, project area that I grew up in, but we had everybody. You know, we grew up around, you know, Italians, Irish, Albanians, Indian, you know, Puerto Rican, Dominicano. Like everybody was there. All the whole Caribbean diaspora. You know, so it was literally like you had this one big melting pot of cultures that you were able to kind of either pull from or understand or experience, whether you wanted to or not. But you had no choice but to see it. And so coming here, there's that here as well, but there's more of us. And I just really enjoyed watching us, you know, own our businesses.
Yeah.
You know, I know there's more to do, but
Right.
I loved being able to see that, seeing the opportunities that are here.
Yeah.
In terms of, you know, what you're doing in whatever aspect, not just entertainment, but just across the board. So I
Right.
love seeing us thrive and work and just appreciated it, you know.
Yeah.
Still do.
Georgia is one of the states with that is glorified in business owners. So we have the highest grossing business owners in the country, I think, with what I read somewhere. So, you know, Atlanta is definitely the place to come and to network and to build a business. And because for, you know, they say, you know, southern hospitality gets you a long way. You know.
It does, it does. And I love the fact that people just love to you know, even speaking specifically to the you know, to entertainment industry, I think it's just it's more accessible here in terms of being able to work with people. You know, it's more accessible. You're able to connect a little bit more. New York, LA, you can do the same out there too. The vibe is a little different.
Mhm.
Again, depending on who you know, right? At
Right.
the end of the day,
Yeah.
but here you will not have a lack of finding people that are like, hey man, I just want to shoot something. You
Right.
know, they may
Right.
not have all of the resources or the budget, but they may have a bit of talent. They may have some resources to say, hey, you know what? I just want to shoot something. You know,
Yeah.
can we get together with a, you know, with a film crew from like SCAD or anybody and just let's work. You know,
Right.
so that's what I loved about my experience in the beginning stages here when I noticed.
Okay. So when you got here, you decided that, you know, you wanted to get into film and you know, pursue that. So did you start taking classes, and who did you work with? How did you hone into your craft?
So coming from, so I did do a bit of theater when I was in New York. So coming from theater, it was an adjustment that I had to make. Once I decided that I wanted to get back into it, because that was like music and acting were like always hand in hand to me, right? It was like there was never one more than the other, and especially in doing musical theater, I have the you know, the opportunity, the luxury to do both, you know, express both. And
Right. So now you
that's my background.
was singing, or were you?
With singing, yes.
Oh, okay. So wait, hold your horses.
Uh-huh.
So that's something I did not know that you were.
Oh, you didn't do your research there. I got I slipped one by you.
That you hid that, you slid that back in the back somewhere.
You know, it's funny because it's real funny because I don't put it out there as much, but I have put it out there, you
Right.
know, but I don't, it's not a, you know, it's not a daily broadcast for me, but if somebody wants to dig and they dig deep enough, they're like, oh, wait a minute. Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, he was signed and how to this and how to that. Like, yeah, you know, it's part of my history.
So
It's
you
part
got
of my history.
out there somewhere, like on Spotify somewhere, or?
I got some things out there.
We gonna get more into that. Don't think
Yeah,
don't think.
I'm sure we will. We'll definitely circle back to it. But the transition from theater to film was just I had to do it. And what I did was what opened me up was one class in particular I took with, there was a workshop actually with Mariska Phillips.
Okay.
And she's actually worked with Susan Basson out in New York. And so I took a workshop here in Atlanta, and I understood after that workshop, and she made it very, very clear. She was like, you have talent, you've got the chops, but I need you to bring all this right here. Because theater is big. You know, so everything in theater is, you know, you're projecting and your emotions are pushed forward because you have to give it to the whole audience, you know. But the camera needs it right here. So I just had to learn, you know, I had to adjust, and I had to, you know, sharpen the skills. And like, and it's one of the first things that I tell people when they tell me, oh man, I want to try this acting thing. I want to, what I got to do. And I was like, first thing is go to class.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, I don't care where, just start going to a class.
Right.
Because that will help you decide whether or not, it'll help decide whether or not you want to dedicate yourself to this craft. Not the idea of being in front of a camera on a stage and, you know, flashing and getting the, you know, the fame that people want to think that it is, but it's the craft. So take a class, take classes, and start to understand what it's about. Yeah.
And I tell people that all the time. You know, people, when they see actors, they just see actors. They don't understand that there's a whole slew of stuff that we got to go through, pull from. We got to know how to make you believe that what we're doing is real.
Right.
It's simple. Now, some people just have that knack. You know, they've been liars their whole life, so they ain't able to able to manipulate people anyway. So
right.
But
it's funny because even in that, it's like you have to take yourself sometimes. Sometimes you can find a connection with yourself in that character that you're trying to portray or that you're portraying, but then there's times that you may have to kind of just really go in and become somebody else. And then there's techniques to learning that. You know, there's things you need to learn of how to do that. So that's why it's so important that people understand the study of it, because then it will come off like acting. It'll just, and that's why you get people that's like, oh man, I saw you in so-and-so, but I ain't really believe you. And it's different when somebody says, I ain't like you because I didn't like the way you treated so-and-so. And I'm like, thank you. You know, like, oh man, you was a real asshole. Like, you were real scary on this. And I'm like, thank you. That means I did my job.
Right. You're absolutely right. Now, you have an agent, right?
I do.
And who is your agent?
That's Momentum.
Okay.
Momentum on it. Mm-hmm.
How important, and the reason I ask these questions is because we got people who watch and wants to know more about getting into acting, as well as knowing your journey. How difficult is it for you, and when do you decide that you want to get an agent?
So the first question was how difficult
is it to get an agent? Because, you know, a lot of times people think they could just go walk in, say something, and you got an agent. But that agent has to think that you're going to be a moneymaker for them.
Right.
That's what it boils down to, is making money.
Right.
So what was it, what was the process for you that you feel like you needed to do to attain an agent?
I'm going to say this first. First, I'm going to say everybody's journey is different.
Absolutely.
Just for those listening. And having an agent and having a manager, which I have both. I have Momentum and I have Crackerjack as my management. Great people, great representation. But everybody's journey is different. And I say that because, brother, at some point in the beginning, especially in the beginning of my career, as I was pushing, as I was preparing, I had to not focus on that. I had to focus on who am I?
Right.
You can get a meeting with an agent, with a manager, and you're thinking that, oh, once I get that, I'm good. But if you don't know who you are as an artist, right? If you don't know who you are as an artist, as an actor, and what what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are. Get to know who you are first before you start running to anybody saying, come represent me. Because you don't even know who you are that they want to represent. And that's why, and this is where the work comes in. This is when I tell people, find out what kind of actor you are. You know, find out that you may be, you may be more comedic than drama. You know, you may be more sci-fi and action than, I mean, you just have to find out what that is. But do the work in terms of preparing for who you are first. Then you prepare, then you do the other work and start looking at what these different agencies and management companies who have to offer. How many yous do you see in their roster? When I say yous, meaning how many women that look like you, how many men that look like you, who has the same complexion, the same build, the same, face, like all of those things matter. And that's the part of the homework that people need to do ahead of time, because if you don't, you're walking in blindly and just hoping that, hey, well, pick me because I got a great personality and you may look good, or you may look sexy, you may look handsome, and that's not what it's about. Exactly. It's a small microcosm of that. Right. But I'm gonna say this, that it's important to have representation when it's time, and that time, it looks different for everybody.
Right.
For me, I was working in booking gigs, and my personal story is, brother. And like I said, I have much respect for my agents and those that are out there. But I was working and getting stuff before I had representation.
Right.
I booked a movie, Look, All Eyes on Me, and a couple other things before I had an agent. I went to by the time I was getting ready to go talk to an agent, I had a movie and I had a pending show on my back, ready to go in and sit down and have a conversation. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to have leverage. I want them to understand that I'm going to work with you, and I want you to work with me, but I'm going to do everything that you need me to do because I've worked that hard. I will hustle that hard. And the thing that I make very clear to, that I made clear to my representation is that I'll do what you need me to do, but I need for my reps to if at all possible, either work as hard as me or harder, because I'm going to be out there. I'm going to be pushing. I'm going to be building my brand. I'm going to be working on my craft.
Right.
And these are the things that I was doing prior to. So by the time I come and have a conversation and I sit down, because the first thing they're going to do is start checking, well, who are you? And look in your IMDb and look in do you have the right headshots and what have you done thus far? And you don't have to have those things. I think you make that very clear to people. Just do the work. God had blessed me with the opportunities that I had prior to getting representation. But just do the work. They want to see what they want to see. They meaning representation. They want to see that you're working, that you're taking classes, that you're actively working on the craft. In addition to, how do you present yourself? What is your brand? When they look at your social media, are they seeing craziness? Are they seeing your personality? Are they seeing that you're working? Are they seeing your work? Or are they seeing like, hey, so I just painted my toes today. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, I just went outside and, like they want to see personal life, but they want to see your brand. They want to see your craft. Who are you? And so all of those things, the combination of those things, I think is what helps, in understanding the importance of, yes, you want representation when it's time, but before that, do the work. Some people try to jump the gun and say, oh, man, I did like one show or I did one project, and now I'm ready for management. And they're looking and saying, okay.
Yeah.
And for some that may work depending on who you know and what you do and how you look, and you may get in there. For some that may work, for others it may not, but always prepare to do the work. You cannot skip hard work.
Man, and the reason I asked you that question is because I knew you would answer it perfectly, because that right there, perfect answer to that. I talk about that a lot when it comes to getting an agent. You have to know who you are first. You have to be ready. You can't just walk in there and think an agent's gonna pick you up just because you look good or you can talk real well. Right. What have you done? What's your talent? What gift? What are you bringing to the table?
Right.
All involved.
Are you marketable at the end? Like you said earlier, at the end of the day, it is still business, right? It is still business. They still need to know at the end of the day, great person, great gal, great guy. However, if I put you in a room where you deliver, and if you book the gig, can I get you more gigs? And are you good? And are you, on a personal level, on a social level, are you good to work with? Are you going to be a headache?
Absolutely.
When we put you on, with working with other talent, like all of these things these things matter. So.
Wow.
But again, everybody. But as far as telling people, when you'll know when you reach when you've done, I guess, a certain amount of work, or it was just a knowing. It was a feeling like, okay, it's time. I've done X amount of, I've done not X amount of projects, but I've worked thus far. Now it's time for me to elevate and take it to the next step. And that's individually based.
Wow. And once you got in, you got your agent, you like you said, you was already getting work on your own, which for actors, their number one thing, people, you have to work, you have to get your own, you have to be your own hustler. You can't just depend on the agent. You have to go out and look for your work too. You have to go out and network, meet people, talk to people. You have to do all of that. It's a job, work. So, everything you said is accurate, man. And that's what's going to catapult you to the next level if you stay consistent with it.
Consistency is key.
Absolutely. So then you start landing these roles, like I just mentioned to you earlier, All American, you did Queen of the South. I've been seeing you doing some stuff. So, what is a role that you haven't played or that you would like to play that you haven't played yet?
Great question. It's interesting because as this journey of life is continuing, they're actually coming to me. So,
right.
I don't think, have I played a doctor? I don't think I played a doctor yet, but it's not on the top of the list. But even working and doing action, because I do stunts as well, and having a background in martial arts and boxing, like that's a heavy passion of mine. But I created that. I created that. I have a terminology when I say, don't wait, create.
Right.
Don't wait. I'm not waiting for it. So even with roles that what you're asking is roles that I may not have booked yet, or worked this yet. But until that time, I'm going to create it, because maybe I need to create it so that you can see what it looks like.
Exactly.
When I'm the mad scientist, when I'm the action hero, when I'm the comedic, this comedic best friend. If you have not had the chance afforded to you to audition for those roles, create it.
Exactly.
That goes back to the community that you talk about, who you surround yourself with.
Right.
If you can't write the script, or you can't write the scenario, have somebody write it. Find the people that the film crew that can work with you, and shoot a scene. So I would say, do those things. But if there's a particular role that, and I always put it out there every time when I have an interview and I talk about it, if they would ever do it, it would be, or if I would ever do it, I'll say that, if I would ever do it, it would be telling the story of Luther Vandross.
Oh,
Vandross biopic, yeah.
That's a good one.
I put it out whenever I'm asked. That one comes up from time to time, but that has always been my.
Wow.
That's always been a story for me, yeah.
And it's coming at some point. It's coming at some point.
I mean, I heard some whispers, some talk, like maybe about, I want to say a year or two ago, but because things with the estate, and it's a lot of red tape and politics to cut through when it comes to people, especially when of course he's not here, so there's a lot to go through with that. But however, if that were to ever, when it happens, that's something that that's a personal project of mine that I'd want to.
Why Luther Vandross? Obviously, you're a fan of him, but why? Yes. Is that 100% the reason why? Because you're a fan of him, or what kind of?
Just in terms of, especially of course, in terms of music, he's who I listen to in terms of helping me find my voice and help me find what it is that I liked about levels of music, especially of course with R&B.
So wait a minute. So are you saying that you can sound like Luther Vandross when you sing?
I'm saying that there's only one Luther Vandross, and I'm saying that there are possible moments where you may hear a resemblance, or you may hear the influence of Luther. That's what I'm gonna safely say.
Got
That's what I'm gonna safely say, because there's too many Luther fans that are like, hold on now, you talking about Luther, and I'm one of them. So respectfully so. But yeah, I mean, when I was even, growing up and singing in choir and taking training lessons, all of vocal lessons,
All right.
somebody who I mirrored. But aside from that, I just loved his music, and I love how he was such a perfectionist in the art. And he, anybody that's worked, if you look at any documentaries with him and who he's worked with, who he sung backup for, he was just that great. He was one of the goats of the crooners. In the days when R&B crooning was like, that's what it was. You put on Luther, you knew what it was. You threw on Donnie and Stevie, you knew what it was. So, yeah.
That's what's up, man. You know what? I hope you get that, because I believe you'll kill it, man. Because when you have that goal, when you have that mindset, and man, sometimes it just manifests itself.
Absolutely.
And that's one thing I love about film, because, like you said, you can create it. If it don't happen, you can create it yourself.
Create it yourself. Don't wait. Create. You don't have to wait for the industry to tell you that you could possibly be whatever character it is. Just create it.
Right.
And I think doing that sometimes, when you talk about manifestation, when you put it out there, and you're letting God know, God conspires. God created everything, so he's going to conspire. He's going to put together everything. He'll make the universe in the right alignment and everything come together, but you got to put it out there, So works without faith is dead. You have faith in it, you put it through. Next thing you know, okay, that's what you want? Okay, well, let me go ahead and line this up, because you did this much and you created this, here comes the opportunity.
Wow. And that's great, man, the way you worded it. That right there in a nutshell is what will catapult an actor to be even better than what he is. What has been the most difficult challenge you've had since you've been an actor?
Great question. The most difficult challenge? I think I've had moments where I've had to. I'm a go-getter, right? Go-getter. I'm a hustler, pushing in the sense that I want to keep going, keep moving.
Right.
One of the difficult challenges that I've had to learn for myself, and I give my brother, his name is Salute, props to this, because what he's taught me is you got to celebrate this. You got to celebrate the small victories.
Right.
For me, the difficulty was, man, okay, I've done this. What's next? I've done this. Got to get to the next one. Okay, got to move. Got to elevate. And it was, honestly, again, I'm being transparent, not taking the time enough to just say, you know what, bro, you just accomplished this. Be easy, relax. Take this moment in, because you want to get to that direction, or to that goal, and you will. But in the meantime, cherish what it is that's right in front of you, and the accomplishment that you made. And so I had to remember, I was reminded to appreciate the small victory, not small, but every victory, small, big, whatever you deem as small, but every victory. So, and not so much keep going like, yeah, but I got to get to that goal. All right, I got to get what's next. Because it's the grind, it's the push. We finish one thing, go after, we can do, when the industry opened back up, it's like, hey, we get 8 auditions a week. It was like, yes, this is great, and that keeps us moving. But, helping, but where do you find your happiness outside of this world?
Right.
Your happiness, that is what, it's not a difficulty anymore, I should say, but answering your question, that's part of what it was, is finding the happiness and being able to say, hey, I am happy and content with what I have accomplished thus far, and not demeaning anything, the work that I've done, the hard work that has been, that I had to do to get to this point. So yeah, it's that, because and I think, and I'm sure I'm not alone in that. A lot of us, and yourself included, like, you may say, man, I got to do this next. I got to get this deal. I got to go talk to so and so, and we forget to be in the moment and be like, you know what, I'm happy, and I'm happy whether or not this audition comes through. I'm happy whether or not this deal goes through. I'm happy whether or not, like, I'm happy. That's something that needed to be worked on, and I'm glad I'm to that place now.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because one of the things that, I know for me, one of the biggest challenges I had to get over was the disappointments when you go out and you audition, and you walk out there like, man, whoo, I feel that thing, and you don't get that call, or They tell you you're not the one. That's when I had to learn that it ain't always about you. You know, it's about that project, like what's needed. Do you fit whoever they have in line with the playing opposite you? You know, I always tell this story of when I had this audition and they called me back. It was a big film project. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking, man, they must really like me because they can't stop, you know? And so I'm just like waiting for a call, but I never got the call. Mm-hmm. And I happened to run into the casting director probably like a year or something ago. And she just came up to me, Wardell, how are you? I said, hey, how are you? And she said, I said, I'm great. She said, she's great. She's like, I said, whatever happened to that film, Brian? Normally I don't say anything.
Right.
But I just had to know what happened to the film project. I didn't ask what did I do? I just asked, you know, how did the film project go and stuff? She said, man, we were so mad you didn't get cast for that role. She said, wow. But you know why? I said, why? She said, because they thought you were worth more money than we were offering.
Oh, look at that.
I'll take that.
Look at that.
I did not think that was going to come out of her mouth.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You're a veteran at this. You've been doing this a while. She said, we knew you were worth more than what we would have offered you.
Interesting.
Look at that. I was just stunned when she said it. I thought for a minute and I said, well, you know, y'all could have asked, but hey, you know,
right.
I respect that.
I think that was a great I think that was a great discovery for you to have. It was something that you know, and again, it just goes to show you we never know what the deciding factors are, and sometimes it's actually because you know that people are looking at you and seeing your worth more than you even realize for yourself.
Absolutely.
You know, look at that. They said, man, we didn't. You know, they said they don't think we can afford this guy. This guy might be too, you know, ahead of the situation. And meanwhile, you're like, I would have worked something out for you. But you know, I think those are great testimonies that like people like you, myself, and others need to continue to share. Like I remember one time I shared on social media. I forget what it was. It was like maybe a couple of years ago, and like I went for an audition, but I didn't get it. I mean, I found out like soon after that I didn't get it. Right. But I posted that, and I know a lot of times, you know, because what we're used to seeing is booked it, right, and got it, and that's great to share too, because that's just as inspiring, I believe. You know, to let people know, hey, listen, out here getting it and winning, so right around the corner for you. So I believe in that just as much as I believe in saying, listen, I'm not booking every audition.
Right. Yeah.
Somebody, you know what I'm saying? Like as many times as you'll see somebody on television or on a film, for that moment or a couple moments that you see that seems like it's back to back.
Right.
What you're missing, what they don't see,
is all the auditions.
that just went on. You know what I mean? Like just went on by, like all the no's.
And that's why other actors like myself, when I see you on the screen, I'm excited because I already know. You know what I'm saying? I already know what to go through, you know, to get just that role. So it's like when I see my fellow, you know, actors and stuff and the actresses and they doing stuff on TV and stuff, I'll be like, yo, I just start clapping my hand because I already know. I know.
Because you know, and again, that's something that I practice and I continue to do so as well. I was just talking to my brother the other day, Mac. You know Mac, and you know, and you know, just recently he was on Lovecraft Country, you know, killing it, but he's one of many people that I've you know, like as part of a tribe, what I call tribe, and talk to. We went to, you know, Dwayne Boyd's acting class, Pan, we call ourselves Pan Fam, but you know, Premier Actors Network, and we'll see everybody growing. You know, we'll see everybody growing. We start hollering at them and say, hey, Star, I saw you, baby. You know, Jock, I saw you. Yo, what's up? Yo, you rocking it. You know what I'm saying? Tell, like, we see our people going. I was just having that conversation because he called me to wish me happy birthday, and we ended up talking about that. And I said, man, the reason why I when I can catch it, and I put support out there the way that I do, and I don't care if it's just saying, hey, go catch my man tonight on so and so. Hey, catch my homegirl tonight on so and so. Yo, she just killed it on, because like you just said, what it took to get to that yes.
Yes.
To get to that yes. Not even now, we ain't talking about the no's that you got for the last couple of weeks to the 2 months before.
Right.
We're talking about to that yes. So when I see that, I'm happy as hell for my people. And I celebrate them, and I tell, and I whenever I get them the chance, and the moment I have to do it, I'm gonna congratulate you. And I did that, and of course that in turn inspires me and keeps me going.
Man,
as it should with everybody else. Celebrate us, you know.
Right. Why I said we gotta do more of that. That's why when the first thing I did when I got on this show, I had to celebrate you for that, man. I'm sitting there looking at All American. I said, y'all, that's Sean, man. And I was just so excited, man, because I'm just like, and they're gonna take me to my next question, but I'm like, I was just with him, you know.
and you never know, right? You just never know how things are coming about, and you've seen where everybody's journey is taking them. So yeah.
Right. So now, and one of the things that I see a lot too, especially with you, is that you're not just in front of the camera, you're behind the camera.
Yes,
how important is it for you to know all the aspects of doing films?
Again, great question. It is paramount. It is paramount. I think it's highly important. It would behoove you to, especially as an actor, to have an understanding of what this world is about and what it looks like outside of just you in front of the camera or on the stage.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you saw me working on the project with Bass Brothers, and you know, and that's just one of other projects that I've done where I've just been behind the camera. But it's important to know it, because you have a different, I feel that you will gather a different level of respect.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
It takes to create the moment that you're in, right?
Exactly.
You'll understand, you'll gather a different level of respect what it takes for lighting, for sound, for wardrobe, right? All of it, as a director, as a writer, everybody's coming together to make this moment happen. And although it seems like it's just about you, you're the person that this particular moment is focusing on.
Right.
In order for you to get this right and to get here, you have all these other dynamics that happen.
Exactly.
And that's why I tell people, like, listen, I was doing background work and featured background work, you know, for a little while before I said, okay, I'm ready to jump into the next stage. I needed to understand, because again, like I told you, coming from theater, I didn't know what that looked like outside of stage. So I said, well, let me get on and see what's happening. Let me, you know, be present and do my job, but let me find out how this works with the DP. Let me find out what's happening. How important is the lighting?
Right.
How important is sound? How important is it for wardrobe how important is it for props? It's very important to help tell the story if you're doing it right. And so, and you gain a whole new level of respect for the craft and the industry on a whole, you know? And that's why for me, when I go, I don't care what set I go to, and I never forget this. When I was still doing background, and I forget what project it was, but I got an email, of course, coming from one of the ADs, you know, saying, hey, these are the rules, this is what we're going to be doing, this is what to look forward to, you know, this is what to expect when you get on set, and come prepared with blah, blah, blah. And I remember responding to the email, of course, you know, again, young in the game, still trying to, but what I thought about at that moment when that person sent it to me, I responded back and I said, okay, copy that, got it, thank you. And I said, thanks for all you do. and I got a response back. So I'm saying it was from her. And the AD was like, thank you. Like, you don't even understand like how we don't hear that, number one. And two, even in that day of going through all of the stuff, because you know behind the scenes, you know, everybody's running around doing, and especially on the big set. But that one, thank you for all you do.
Right.
Went a long way with her.
Yeah.
So by the time I got to set, and it was, oh yes, it takes that much, but just an understanding. So I say that to say to understand what everybody's roles are. Your role is important too, but don't
Right.
forget that what it takes to do the sound, to do lighting, to do props.
Right.
Everybody is working together. So when I get to any set, I even on emails I always say thank you, and I say thanks for all you do. And then when I get to set, I'm everybody gets love, not just
Right.
my co-stars,
Right.
not just the director and producer.
Right.
If I see walking by and I see you carrying a scaffold. What's up, bro?
Yeah.
Good morning to you. Good day. What's
Extra.
up, sir? Thank you. I'm everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's important. It's
Yeah.
very important for you to respect it. It's very important.
Man, and it's great for you to say that. You know, one of the things I tell people all the time that get into this business, I always say, you know, make sure you take classes just like you said, and if you can, do a little theater, because theater is way harder than just going and doing film.
Okay.
And I say that, you know, and I say if you master theater, film is a piece of cake. You just have,
You'll get through it. Yeah.
just like you said, bring it all the way down. See,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I did. I first got when I for the first 3 or 4 years I did theater. That's all I did.
Mm-hmm.
I got the film. Man, I was talking so loud and everything, and I was just bigger than life. And
Bigger than life.
bring it down. You don't have to do all that. I had to adjust everything
Yeah.
and bring it all the way back down. So I know exactly what you meant when you
Yes.
said, because
Yeah.
you had to realize. I'm just like, wait, so I don't have to talk loud anymore. Like I can just talk like this, and it's cool.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Look, and then if you happen to, like I did for a couple years too, and then transition back to theater because I did Raising in the Sun, and I had to go back. I was going in between, and I had to remember, oh, okay, now I got to go back to projecting and
Yeah.
hitting the back of the auditorium, so back in the theater. So it was, but you know what? But it's great. It's great to have those skills. I'm grateful to have those skills to be able to use in my little tool bag to say, hey, what do you need? I can go in there and get it for you. It's great to have. So yeah, encourage people to do that, please.
Now another thing that you have, and we're gonna be wrapping up here soon, but one of the things that you have a lot of skills, and you've learned, fighting techniques, stunts, all that kind of stuff. How important is it to increase your skill level? And a lot of people don't understand. The more you know how to do, the more open you are to getting roles.
Yes. Yes.
Expand on that a little bit.
Yeah. Again, very, very. It's very important. Again, I think it's vital. It puts you in a different level or different bracket, if you will. So when your representation, or even just you pushing yourself, when you put those skill sets out there, it's like you said, you didn't know. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, you sing? Oh, yeah. Well, so I add that to the repertoire because now it's not.
Right.
Oh yeah, it's sing, but it's sing, write, produce. It's like, oh, wait a minute, you did. Oh, so now it's under. So it makes sense now to say, well, we can put Sean in this show that's going to turn into a musical because he knows how to sing, or he knows how to dance, or he knows how to juggle, whatever the case may be. I always say there's certain, definitely find your strengths, find what your true your additional talents are, and use that. Find a way to add that infuse that into your work. And then I think there are other things that are just good to know. Like, again, I have background in martial arts and boxing, so I will use that, in terms of, hey, when I got to do action, I'll have tactical training, so I'll use that. And I would encourage people to do the same thing. Like I know friends right now that are taking boxing lessons, and that are and they're going to, they're shooting a gun for the first time, and they're going to getting some kind of tactical training. You can apply it to life as well as apply it to what you do for your career, because it's good to know in case when you land a role that says, hey, do you have any weapons experience? Or do you have any fighting experience? Do you have any wrestling experience? Can you juggle? Are you a bartender? Do you know how to mix drinks? Do you know how to mix drinks? All of that, whatever your other special skill talent is, it all counts, because you never know when it can be applicable to what's happening in your career. So it matters very much. It matters greatly.
Oh wow, man! And there are classes, people, that you can take to be a stunt man, stunt woman, to learn fighting techniques. to learn how to juggle, to learn how to do any of those. Or
Right.
anything you want to learn how to do, you can do it, add it to your resume, and just master it, you know,
Right.
and own it, you know, put it on your
Right.
resume, whatever you know how to do, whatever talent, you know. So
Because they ask those questions, and you know when people sign up for like Actors Access, which people should do, you know,
yeah,
one of the first things. But they ask you that. They say, what is, and they have a whole section that
whole
asks
list.
you the whole what do you, and like just in case they want to know. And there's a reason why, because there are so many roles out there that require so many different things. Let them know who you are. Create your brand, create yourself. Let people know who you are. That's what helps also. And when people say when you're ready for an agent and representation, that's something that helps because now they know how to market you.
Oh man, and that's dope. Now, the last question I got for you is,
Mm-hmm.
you touched on this earlier
Mm-hmm.
about social media and
Yes.
how look at your social media. How important is it for you to have to have your social media be a market and a tool for you as an actor?
Uh, I don't want to say necessary evil because as you know, and you know, anything can be used for, but you know, good or evil. You know, it just depends on where you are and how to utilize it. But it's very important. You can't escape it.
Yeah,
You can't escape it, and I think
because
it's important to understand. I'm sorry.
you get any representation, they're gonna go look at your social media.
That is literally literally the first place that they go outside of looking at your audition, looking at your headshot, because and again this goes back to what we said earlier. They want to know who that, like, your social media, believe it or not, for those that really understand the importance of, becomes an extension of yourself.
Yes,
Like
it does.
before they can get a chance to talk to you, meet you, bring you in the room, they want to know who Wardell is. And so if they go to Wardell's page, right,
Mm-hmm.
and Wardell has, you know, nothing but craziness going on there.
Right,
You
right.
know what I'm saying? And I don't, you know, to whatever level, I was about to say something crazy, but you know, let's just say you have some real questionable things there. You're gonna be like, well, who is this? Who is this guy? You know, I mean, we like his audition, but it seems like it can be a little bit of a headache because every minute he's walking around pulling pranks on people, or you know, doing something crazy, or something, you know, like, and if
Right.
that's all you got, but if your social media can show, it's a delicate balance, brother. It's the balance of the thing. Yes. Yes, like
Yeah.
it's a delicate balance between showing a bit of yourself and saying, listen, I'm human. I have feelings. You know, I don't go too far left or too right when it comes to certain things that's going on in the world. But I have my beliefs of what I stand on. I'm a human being. But
Mm-hmm.
at the same token, but look at me as a creative artist. Look at me as a creative artist and a creative being and respect my work.
Right.
You have to find that balance in there. And if you can do that, and it doesn't matter whether you have, you know, couple of hundred followers or 20 million followers. I mean, it matters, but the true you,
Right.
when they want to see who they're working with, that's also the determining factor. So be mindful of what you put on there. Be mindful of how you market. What's your agenda? What are you doing? What are you doing this for? Is it attention? I had a post that I put up, and I like that I came with this thing: is attention and intention. And I feel like intention should be greater than the attention. What is your intention? Intention, attention.
Right.
What are you doing it for?
Wow. That's deep, man. That's real deep. Well, we're going to get ready to sum up this show. But before I do have one more question, but just one more.
He's got me. One more question.
If you can leave a tad bit of advice for anybody who's listening to the show who wants to be an actor or pursue acting, what advice would you give them?
Just one bit of advice that I think I've carried with me throughout my whole career, let alone life. Do it with passion, or don't do it at all.
Okay.
That's it.
That sums it up.
Do it with passion, or don't do it at all. Don't you know? It's not half-assed. It's not kind of sort of when I feel like it on a good day, or I'm back into it now. I feel good because it's October. Now I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it's November. We're gonna take when you do it with passion. It's a drive. It's a feel. It's a purpose.
Absolutely.
It's undeniable. So do it with passion, or don't do it at all.
How can people reach you, man? Follow you on your social media.
Yes, so you can follow me on Instagram, Sean Baker Online. You can follow me on Twitter, the Sean Baker. On Facebook is Sean Baker. Actually, you'll start seeing Sean Anthony Baker at some point, because that's what I'll be going by. But still, you'll still find me as Sean Baker on all those sites, and official Sean Baker on my website.
And everybody, once again, I preach about this all the time too. See how it's easy to find him under his name, Sean Baker. He's not under Master Obi-Wan Kenobi 69.
Master Yoda 1, 2, 3. Like
people, your social media should be your brand as well. Whatever your name is, whatever you want to go, make it easy to find you. Like I cannot tell you how important it is.
It is.
Because you never know who's going to go look for you. You never know who's going to look you up right on the spot. I was in LA and I got into the Pan African Film Festival, and there was this one event that I'm talking about. You had to know somebody to get into this event, like period. I don't care who it was. If you didn't know somebody in there, you wasn't getting in there. So I happened to know some people in LA, got in there, got in front of a world-renowned director. I'm talking about, and my friend introduced me to the guy, and the first thing he did was look me up. I'm talking about the first thing. He went to my IMDb, looked at my credits, went to my Instagram, looked at he put up my name, and then he said, all right, let's talk.
Right.
That's what made him talk to me.
Right.
That easy to find me. So I tell people all the time, please, don't come with these crazy names, superstar actor 96, nobody's going to be able to find you.
I remember going to a workshop and they have classes on that. People showing people, explaining to upcoming actors, and even, at that time, current actors that were already working, like, listen, don't forget, they need to find you. Whatever your name appears as on credits, that's what it should be. Because if somebody, like you said, if he had to go search any longer to find you, that would have been over. Like, all right, well, I'll get back to you.
Yeah. They're not gonna waste their time. If they can't find you, they're just gonna walk away from it. It's quick. I'm talking about, it happens so fast. And you never gonna look you up. We had somebody just ask a question, man. They like your t-shirt and wonder where they can get one.
Thank you. Actually, I had this shirt made. It was made by a friend of mine that has a holistic store out in Covington, Georgia. Actually, this is a part of a brand that I'm pushing forward with clothing, but it's Ashe ATL. It's ASE. Go on Instagram, Ashe ATL. He does shirts and prints in bulk. But when you see me wearing stuff like I Will Breathe and By Any Means, and like I have a particular Queen Protector, that's all my brand. So that's where they would be able to get the shirts like this.
Right now, you could have sold at least, I don't know how many t-shirts, because there was a few people who called in who questioned on the network, where did you get that t-shirt from? They like that t-shirt.
Yep. Ashe ATL.
Tell them again how they can get one.
So again, on Instagram, it's Ashe ATL. That's Ashe, ASE ATL.
All right, and you heard it straight from Sean Baker himself. Man, I appreciate you for coming on the show. It's been an honor to have you on the show, man. I hope to do a major film with you one day.
We just gonna say it's coming. It's happening. You speak it.
It's coming. We're gonna be doing something together at some point, man.
Look, it's already happening, because look where we were just a couple weeks ago. I'm watching you. I'm watching you, and I was out there doing what I was holding sound and doing everything else with Bad Brother. So yeah, absolutely. So it's coming, and that was just the foreshadowing. So it's coming, and then we have this. So thank you, brother. I appreciate you.
No doubt, man. I appreciate you for coming on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, Sean Baker had just hit WCEG Wood, Hollywood of the South. Great show. Thank you guys for tuning in. Tune in 2 weeks. I have someone else on the show straight out of LA, doing some amazing work, working with an amazing famous funk singer. So she's going to be in studio, well, going live on Zoom, and straight out of LA. And I can't wait to interview her, you know, same way I felt like, you know, interviewing my man Sean Baker here.
Yeah.
So please, 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 once again, everybody go vote. It is majorly important to go vote right now. There's so much stuff going on with the government, so much stuff going on in just society, in this world. In order to make a difference, we all got to come together and do what we need to do to change it.
Yes.
It's the people to change it. That's it. And mask up.
Mask up.
Mask up. They're saying that COVID is going to hit again. When it starts getting cold, it's going to get crazy. They already got restrictions going on certain places that they had open across seas. Right. You got to get tested before you, 72 hours, I think, before you even get over there. And then you had to present the evidence that you had the test. So, and if you didn't have the test, then when you get there, you have to take the test when you get off the plane and wait 40, 45 minutes or so to get the results back. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the way of the world right now. It's just what it is. I pray we get through this. Pray next year we get delivered from this whole epidemic, because it has been crazy. But on that note, you know, WCEG Wood, we are here. We're gonna keep moving. We may be back in studio starting in January. Looking forward to that. But I love this Zoom too, you know, because we can reach, you know, people all over the country, over the world. You know, we can interview. So thank you guys for tuning in. Once again, Sean Baker, thank you for coming on the show. My brother, great guy, man. He's a great guy. You know, great guy.
You, man. Same to you. Thank you, brother. Thank you.
On that note, we out.
We out. Peace, y'all. Blessings.